Welcome to another video from Out From the Horrorbox. I'm your stark-raving host, Dom, and in this video we're going to be looking at the subgenre of horror known as cosmic horror. Some themes of cosmic horror are dread, forbidden and dangerous knowledge, madness, non-human influences on humanity, religion, superstition, fate and inevitability, and the risks associated with scientific discovery. These themes of cosmic horror can be found in horror, sci-fi, fantasy films. They can also be found in tabletop and video games, and graphic novels and comics. So let's take a moment to stare into the void. H.P. Lovecraft is an American writer who is known for his horror, fantasy, weird, and science fiction writings. He is best known for the creation of the Cthulhu mythos. His legacy is also apparent in the term Lovecraftian horror, which helped to build the space for cosmic horror, which also went on to influence a lot of writers in the 20th, 21st century. In that, cosmic horror tends to emphasize the insignificance of humanity and its doings, rather than summarily rejecting the possible existence of some greater purpose or purposes. And that's what's seen in Lovecraft's Cthulhu mythos. It is not the absence of meaning that causes terror for the protagonists, as it is their discovery that they have absolutely no power to change anything in the vast, indifferent universe that surrounds them. In Lovecraft stories, whatever meaning or purpose may be invested in the actions of the cosmic beings is completely inaccessible to the human characters. Lovecraft's cosmicism was a result of his feelings of humanity's existential helplessness due to what he called the infinite spaces revealed by science, and his belief that humanity was fundamentally at the mercy of the vastness and emptiness of the cosmos. In his fictional works, these ideas are often described by the fantastic dreamlike narratives, by his well-known Cthulhu mythos, and sometimes by humor. Common themes related to cosmic horror in Lovecraft's fiction are the insignificance of humanity in the universe and the search for knowledge ending with disaster. Lovecraft's work often tends to suggest fear of the other to the reader, as such in the stories The Dunwich Horror and Dagon, often describing that which is unknown as a terrible threat to humanity. The core themes and atmosphere of cosmic horror were laid out by Lovecraft himself in Supernatural Horror in Literature, his essay on Gothic, weird, and horror fiction. Fear of the unknown and unknowable. The fear and awe we feel when confronted by phenomena beyond our comprehension, whose scope extends beyond the narrow field of human affairs and boasts of cosmic insignificance. Here, horror derives from the realization that human interests, desires, laws, and morality have no meaning or significance in the universe at large. Consequently, it has been noted that the entities in Lovecraft's books are not evil. They are simply far beyond human conceptions of morality. A contemplation of mankind's place in the vast, comfortless universe revealed by modern science, in which the horror springs from the discovery of appalling truth. A naturalistic fusion of horror and science fiction in which presumptions about the nature of reality are eroded. That technological and social progress since classical times has facilitated the repression of an awareness of the magnitude and malignity of the macrocosm in which the human microcosm is contained. Or in other words, a calculated repression of the horrifying nature of the cosmos as a reaction to its essential awfulness. Having protagonists who are helpless in the face of unfathomable and inescapable powers, which reduce humans from a privileged position to insignificance and incompetence. Preoccupation with visceral textures, protein, semi-gelatinous substances, and slime, as opposed to other horror elements such as blood, bones, or corpses. So the first film I want to talk about is The Void. The Void is a 2016 Canadian Lovecraftian horror film written and directed by Steve Konstanski and Jeremy Gillespie and produced by Jonathan Bronfman and Kesey Walker. The plot follows a small group of people who become trapped in a hospital by a gathering of hooded cultists and by grotesque creatures. Now, if you listen to the podcast, which I hope you do, we just reviewed this film, so I won't get too into it, but so please go check that out if you haven't. It's on anywhere you can check out any podcasts on Apple, Spotify. The link is in the channel page. But basically, this movie is amazing. I love the creature effects that they did, but it's really about like this doctor who performs this ritual with his cult, and he's bringing forth like some unnatural beyond being from some vast place in the cosmos, and represented by this like triangular pyramid type thing. And it's an amazing film. Like I said, the creature effects are great. Like people start becoming these abominations when they die, and they grow like these tentacle things, and like he's even rebirthed his daughter who died as this kind of she creature that's hunting them down. And the only way to stop him is to like throw him into the abyss where he is channeling his energy, the power from like whatever he's summoning. It's great. Like it even creates like a space in the hospital that they're stuck in as like another dimensional place. It's pretty crazy. It's honestly, I highly recommend it. If you haven't seen it, go listen to the episode because I get really in depth into it. Resolution and the Endless. Resolution is a 2012 American horror film directed by Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, written by Benson. It follows a graphic designer who travels to a remote cabin to save his drug-addicted best friend. The Endless is a 2017 American science fiction horror film directed and produced by and starring Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead. That film tells the story of two brothers, Benson and Moorhead, who visit an alleged cult to which they formerly belonged. Both films exist in the same universe, along with a couple of their other films. I believe Spring does, and Synchronic, and I'd love to see more in that universe because it's crazy that like in 2012 they shot this film Resolution, which is an amazing low budget film. They do so much with like the small budget that they have, but they give you this such an amazing grandiose story contained in, like I said, it's a very low budget, like, but the ideas, the concepts, like it's everything I'd love from film like this, from this type of like genre of horror. It's like it's like this kind of whole like beyond them. They're kind of trapped in this like loop of time, and like they meet also, like it's kind of crazy. They do meet like the people from the Endless when they're in the cult. And then in the Endless, it's them, the two cult members that they had met back in Resolution. They had escaped years ago, and they're going back because they kind of want to just kind of tie everything up for themselves, because one of them really wants to get back into the cult, and the other one's like, no, I don't want to go back, but let's kind of like visit this place so we can kind of not wrap it up, but like tie up any loose ends that they have, and so that they can get over like these kind of feelings that they're having too. I think it's more like a therapy kind of session thing. But they get there and they see that the place of the cult, the people that were in that cult are still there, and they look exactly how they left them. And it's crazy because it's like they're stuck in this time loop that connects back to resolution. And there's these, like, we see like this at one point when they're in the lake, one of them has to swim down to get some, like, I think it's like a cassette or something. I don't really remember. I haven't seen it in a while, but they have to swim down, and there's this, when they're leaving, you see it zooms out, and like there's this ominous shape in the water that's just like massive, and it's like, wait, is there something? There's something down there. Like there's something there, and then there's one point where they're like trying to like loop or trying to tie around like the moon or something. Like they're casting a line, and it captures something, and like they're pulling it. It's crazy and it's unsettling, and I just love it. It's like it gives you like these scenes too that are very sad, where like these people are caught in like these, like, because what ends up, you end up finding out is that like there's these pockets of like of the universe or whatever that are like stuck in these kind of time loops, and you're only allowed to enter or exit those time loops at a certain point in a certain time, and they happen to be just at the point when it's like collapsing, and they have to get out, or else they're gonna be stuck too. They'll never be able to escape, and they eventually do. Spoiler alert, because I do really want to cover these films because they're amazing films. But like it's just like they show you like the two, like at one point you get to see like the little bubbles that are like popped up everywhere, and it's just like I just love that they're Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead are just able to create such like these like such intriguing stories that you just like. They did like Synchronic is an amazing like kind of time travel-y story also. And then they did Something in the Dirt, and they did that during COVID. And if you saw Moon Knight, they helped to direct, or I think they helped to write some of that. And I know that they did direct Loki season 2. So if you saw Loki season 2 and were amazed at like how timey-wimey and crazy and like that was, then you'll know why. It's these guys. These guys are really good at like creating like these very grandiose stories within like the confines of not that much. Like they're able to do a lot without a lot, and I think that needs to be commended. And they're amazing. In the Mouth of Madness. In the Mouth of Madness is a 1994 American supernatural horror film, directed and scored by John Carpenter, and written by Michael DeLuca. Sam Neill stars as John Trent, an insurance investigator who visits a small town while looking into the disappearance of a successful author of horror novels, and begins to question his sanity as the lines between reality and fiction seem to blur. This movie, I only until recently had seen. I wish I had watched this movie earlier. It's so good. It reminds me of, because this is part of John Carpenter calls his apocalyptic trilogy. It goes The Thing, Prince of Darkness, and then this, In the Mouth of Madness. And they're not like tied together in any way. He just thematically they're tied. That's what he just calls them, like a trilogy himself. But this movie it's so good. It's so weird. So the author who goes missing, his name's Sutter Kane. He's kind of like a mix between H.P. Lovecraft and Stephen King. He's just a well-known horror author, and he goes to this town and he just disappears. And so John Trent, played by Sam Neill, him and this woman who works for the insurance agency as well, decide to go to look for him. And it turns out that when they get there, it starts to be like the novels that he's written. There's characters there. There's things that start happening that are just like all the novels he's written. And so at a certain point, he meets the author and he tells him like he's writing the girl out of the story. And he says that this is just a story or whatever. And so then he wakes up and whatever, and he finally gets out of the town, right? And we find out that she's not there. She's never been there. There's no history of her. And he's like starting to go mad because he's like, no, I went with this woman and we went. He's like, yeah, we know you went to investigate, but it wasn't with anyone else. And he's like, to the head, I think, is it, I forget who plays the guy who sends him out there, but like, no, like you never went with anybody. So then, he's like, all of this, and like you start questioning whether or not, is this a novel? As what is he just in a story? And then, like I said, his sanity just starts to break down as he's trying to figure things out, piecing things together, and he's reading like the next book, and the next book is about him, and it's about the story that they're reading or that you're watching, and it's him, and it's this whole thing, and it's crazy. And like there's parts where like these monsters from like the darkness start coming out, and it's like I mean, this is just like peak John Carpenter. When I think this is like, I mean, like it's just like the effects, I mean, like are great also, like the Thing, but there's not as much of it. I would say this is more of a toned down version, but it's still amazing. I still like all these films. I highly recommend, but this one too, it's so good. It starts off crazy, it ends crazy. You're crazy in the end of it, questioning yourself. So good, so good. Annihilation. Annihilation is a 2018 science fiction horror film written and directed by Alex Garland, loosely based on the 2014 novel by Jeff Vandermeer. The story follows a group of scientists who enter the Shimmer, a mysterious quarantine zone of mutating plants and animals caused by an alien presence. Man, this movie, it's all female led. I think the only real like guy in it is Oscar Isaacs. And they get to this place where he's the only survivor to, or the only person to have come out of the Shimmer, and because everyone who goes in, no one comes back out. So their tasked with finding out why. So they send all these women in, Natalie Portman, Tessa Thompson, Jennifer Jason Leigh, and there's a couple others. They all go in, and like as they go through, they see that like reality is warping, like, but it's not just reality is warping. It's like the DNA of things are changing and mutating. So like they see like a alligator that's like merged with like other things, and like plants that are like they're like taking the form of like people and stuff. And it's crazy. At one point, like the one girl, like, because she thinks like it's them who's like causing, not causing everything, but like because they led them in there, and she ties everyone up because she's like, she's upset. And then like, because the one girl that one of the women that they went with, she gets killed by this like this bear thing. It's that seems crazy, and they can hear her yelling, and they think, oh wait, she's still alive, and it turns out no, it's just like this bear monster thing has is using her voice to like call for them and like to yell and scream and stuff, and it just terrorizes them and like murders her, one of them, and like it's just crazy. And then the more you learn about how like it was like this meteorite that impacted near this lighthouse, and from there it's been shaping and warping reality, and it's going to keep spreading, and it's going to spread until it consumes the whole planet. And then at the end you're left like with, did now, because Natalie Portman's character then also like is returns too. Oh, spoiler, guys! I'm spoiling all these movies, but she comes out too, and they're like, and we're left to wonder like, wait, so then are they the alien too? Because did she get taken over by them? Because we know that like the Oscar Isaac character did die. He did kill himself, and so then who is that one back there? Is it really him? Is it this thing that's taken over? And then the movie kind of wraps up like that, and it's just like the inevitability of this expanding thing that's just gonna be consuming the world and just reshaping it, and there's just no control over anything that we can do. And it's just this kind of like dread that spreads, that like is We know nothing's going to be able to stop it. Nothing at all. The Thing. The Thing is a 1982 American science fiction horror film directed by John Carpenter from a screenplay by Bill Lancaster. Based on the 1938 John W. Campbell Jr. novella, Who Goes There? It tells the story of a group of American researchers in Antarctica who encounter the eponymous Thing, an extraterrestrial life form that assimilates, then imitates other organisms. The group is overcome by paranoia and conflict as they learn that they can no longer trust each other and that any of them could be the Thing. Now, The Thing is probably like one of my favorite films of all time. I love it. I can't wait to cover it on the podcast. I would say this is probably John Carpenter, besides Halloween or Big Trouble in Little China or In the Mouth of Madness or Prince of Darkness, or honestly, most of his films are his greatest films. But I think this is probably his best, the peak of John Carpenter. The special effects, like, that are all nothing is CGI. It's all practical. It's crazy how they did this. It's amazing, like, just everything. The story works so well. Just like the unsettlingness, the whole ambiguity of not knowing like who's who, whether or not they're the Thing, whether or not anything, right? It's probably one of the best films ever of all time. I love that, like, this Thing starts off as like the dog, right? And we're meant to assume that anything that it comes in contact with, like when it touches, will become infected, and then eventually it'll start to assimilate the cells of that person or thing that is like an animal too, like we see with the dogs. And eventually it just becomes an imitation, and even that imitation doesn't know that it's an imitation. There's points where we're not even sure if like the main characters have become infected, because there's parts where like they go missing at, or like we're not that they go missing. It's just that we're not shown what they're doing. We're not shown what everyone's doing at every time, at every place. So there's so much that's left up to being like, so what were you doing at that time? Well, who was doing this? We found your clothes. They're all ripped up. How come? And then like other characters were left alone for a while. It like Wilfred Brimley's character is left in a shed because he starts attacking everything, because he figures out that it's not going to take long if the Thing can get out, any part of it in any one or anything can get beyond, like, into the regular world, or the rest of the world. If it can get beyond Antarctica, right, beyond this ice sheet place where there's no one else, if it can get to any land anywhere else, it will just start to infect and spread, and eventually everything will become it. Will become the Thing. Will become part of this thing. And it's just like the dread of like, we got to stop it. We're the only ones who can, because we're the only ones who know about it. And the tests that they do to figure out who is and who isn't, and then the mistrust of like not knowing, and then like people get killed when they're not even the Thing, and then other people not getting killed even though, and getting tied to people who turns out they are the Thing. And then like in the end we're even left to wonder, like, because we didn't see that person, is he the Thing? This person, even though we've been with them most of the film, there were parts where we weren't with them. So did they become the Thing at some point? And it's left ambiguous, and it's so dark and depressing, and it's such a great film. It's, like I said, if you have not seen this movie, it's like I say with any movie, if you haven't seen it, but particularly The Thing, it's one of those films I can't, like I said, I can't wait to cover this one either, because there's so much about this movie that we need to get into that we don't have time here. But all just to kind of tie everything together, like, there's so much that is within this blanket umbrella of cosmic horror, of Lovecraftian horror, of eldritch horror of just these things that become unfathomable, that become so destructive that there's nothing we can do except go mad. There's some things that like is our reality, even with nothing to try, to nothing to do. There's nothing you can do about it. The inevitability is just going to happen. Another in video games is Control or Alan Wake. These are examples of like in that genre. I would say that I'm trying to think of some cosmic horror in like graphic novels, and there's this one called, oh man, what's it called? Man, I forgot what it's called. I only read like the beginning of it. It's like they travel to, like they're trying to travel through space, but they end up traveling through time, and they get to worlds where like one world is like the Native Americans were like technologically advanced, and they attacked. And at some point in their time in history, they they went to war with the Nazis. Crazy idea, crazy concept. It's just like this, like a lot of stuff falls under uh, this umbrella, and like, there's vast like art that you can find online too that just falls under this too. That it's just these striking images of things and like concepts that are just beyond your mind, that beyond what like we can comprehend, and it just drives us crazy, drives us mad, and is scary. It's just scary as hell to think of like, hey, maybe we're in the dream of some mad creature who's just floating out there, and once they wake up, we're all gone. Isn't that kind of frightening? Cosmic horror can make you feel small, unimportant, like everything we do is of an ant. But I think it helps us to calm those fears by exploring and creating these worlds of the impossible. We want to thank you all for watching, and if you like what you saw, please subscribe here. We want to thank you all for watching, and if you like what you saw, please subscribe here on YouTube to catch every new episode. Do you have any personal or fictional, paranormal, supernatural, or unexplainable stories? We'd love to read them on the podcast. Please send your stories. Do you have any personal or fictional, paranormal, supernatural, or unexplainable stories? Do you have any personal or fictional, paranormal, supernatural, or unexplainable stories? We'd love to read them on the podcast. Please send your stories, recommendations, or anything else to horrorboxpodcast at gmail.com. If you want to show more support, you can follow our socials. If you want to show more support, you can follow our socials. If you want to show If you want to show more support, you can follow our socials on Instagram, Threads, or TikTok, all at Horrorbox Podcast on all sites. From there, you can find the link to the podcast. If you want to show more support, you can buy me a coffee at coffee.com/horrorboxpodcast. It really helps out. Until next time, don't stare too long into the abyss. This is Until next time, don't stare too long into the abyss. This is Dom, signing off from the Horror Box.